I will explain about the poverty. So one student asked me about poverty in Japan, factors of poverty in Japan. So I answered something, but with that, I have to add more things. So now in Japan, so poverty is not so severe problem for all, but we can say we have poverty because it's a relative poverty. So we can eat, and if we cannot have everything and cannot have food, maybe government will support. But there are many relative poverty persons. So now the majority of rural farmers are not in poverty. So last time I explained that our rural sociology starts from the poverty in rural village, but in rural area, not in poverty. And poverty is not only from education, occupation, gender, ethnic group, but so the poverty is a mother and child family. It means a divorced, and some family is without father, only mother and child. That family is a poverty, relative poverty, and the household with only elderly members. That's also poverty, main cause of poverty. And third one is a psychosis or having mental problem, living alone in city area, not rural area. If they are living in rural area, maybe neighbors will support him, but in city area, nobody care sometimes. So that is a situation in poverty in Japan. And another student asked me about the agriculture. Why Japan success to develop agriculture? So I answer something, mechanization, but I have to add one more thing. That is a farmers association. So we have made a very high organization rate of association. That's a reply. On topics of today's lecture, green colored one is a last week one. And today we will start from Imam San's, we call him San, Imam San's lecture summary and these topics. So now I'll change to Imam San. So please start, Imam San.
So good afternoon. Actually, there is no schedule for me to talk in this course, but since I asked me to present something, so I just want to. Well, before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Muhammadin. I'm from Indonesia, Makassar. Now I'm a PhD student in Saleh University under Fujimura Sensei's guidance. So what I want to talk is just give you some view about implication of DA or family or house system in Japan to various aspects, and then little bit comparison with Indonesian perspective. So the first thing I want to show is implication to agriculture or business. So in Japan, Sensei explained last week, only one child inherits the agricultural land or businessman. Normally, the first son. But what is different with Indonesia is, for example, farmers in Indonesia have five children. They will divide the land for all of the children to inherit the agricultural land or the business. And then the second.
Imam San, your speaker off, sorry. Okay.
So sorry, I didn't realize my speaker is off. So first, wait a minute. I will repeat it from the first. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear. We can hear you, Imam San.
So So my name is Ahmad. I'm from Indonesia, Makassar. So today I will talk about wait, there is a, so
Can you hear me?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Ahmad Imam Muslim. I'm from Indonesia now. I am PhD student of Saga University under Fujimura Sensei. So what I want to talk about is implication of EA or family house system in Japan to various aspects. So I will give some perspective about what is the implication of this EA system compared to Indonesia's system. The first thing is in Japan, like Sensei explained last week, only one child inherits the agricultural land or business, normally the first son. However, in Indonesia, if farmers have 5 children in the house, they will give or the children will inherit the agricultural land. They will divide it in 4 5 children. And then the second thing, in Japan, other children are doing other business that support main business, or they are looking for other jobs in the city and then others area. So it is related to their education, job opportunity, and economic condition. However, in Indonesia, all of the children still as a farmer, or they are still doing the same business. Originally, if like there are only 10 farmers in the village, but their children are like in total will be like 50 people. So the pressure to agriculture and economic pressure in the village will increase because children will inherit the business or the agricultural land. So what is the implication of this? In Japan, the size of the land or the business is not divided. So they still maintain the same land size uh, to their children. So based on the survey in 2019, Japan's average farm size was about nearly 3 hectares. However, in Indonesia, uh, average farm size is less than 1 hectare, with majority of farmers only have around zero point 0.1 up to 0.5 hectare. So this is related to the farm effectiveness, which in Japan they can still produce the same amount, the same productivity and efficiency. However, in Indonesia, with very small land, the productivity will decrease and efficiency is also very low. And uh, the revenue of farmers in Indonesia will uh, going to decline. So that is what is the difference between Indonesian social system and the relationship with the agriculture in Indonesia. And the second thing I want to talk about is implication to social aspect. So in Japan, like Sensei said, this EA system, in the past, people live in one house with 3 generation family, including grandparents, parents, and also children. However, it is changing. Now, mainly only main family lives together. It means only parents and children. So what is the advantage of having 3 generation family in the house, in the family? Social norm, value, work ethics, and working skill can be transferred to their children in the house, and also as a social control. So elder generation tell younger generation about problem in the past, history of the community, how to behave, and how to avoid conflict. However, because of the condition is changed, this social norm, value, work ethics, working skill transmission also change. And the other things also in the past, when they live with 3 generation, grandparents are taking care of grandchildren while parents are working. However, because it is changed, nowadays children are entering infant garden or preschool from very early age. For example, like since they are 1 years old or 2 years old, the children already go to this preschool because their parents need to work. And then in the past also, parents taking care of the grandparents when they are getting older. However, because of the situation change, number of elderly who live in elderly house, or in Indonesian language is panti jompo or hospital, is increasing. This can be seen because many nurse or labor is import from Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar to work in elderly house or hospital to support elderly people. So this is really different with our culture, because when our grandparents becoming older, we supposed to take care of them. So what I want to say, based on this implication, this social norm, value, work ethics transfer is become to decline. So in the past, they teach their children, they teach their grandchildren how to behave, how to uh, keep their manner and good attitude is transferred by their elder generation. But nowadays, it is start to change, shifting. And the next thing, what I want to uh, tell to you, why this EA or family system is very important, because in the very small level, in the village level, they establish this EA or family level. So they can control family members, properties, agriculture, business, etc. within family level first. And then after that, in village level, the representative of each family, or if each EA uh, contribute to the small community or in village level. So they are working together in order to manage, protect, and regulate resource within the same interest. For example, they are living in one village. So this representative discuss how to manage resource around the village, and who will manage it, who will get the chance to uh, take resource from, for example, forest near the village, and etc. And then after that, in sub-district and district, province, and country level, they are also doing the same. So every representation from village level coming to same place and discuss and manage, protect, and regulate resource in within the larger scale. Because of this system, they make agriculture association, for example, GA, GFA, CO, in every community level. This association have legal entity, and they are working together with government on the principle of mutual cooperation, with the purpose of protecting farming and living of its individual members. Finally, because this from EF system to country level, they make agriculture system. The system, rules, and infrastructure were established to support farmers and the stability of agriculture in Japan. So we can say this is bottom-up approach, how they can manage the agriculture, not only from top-down instruction or top-down rules, but also from bottom-up approach. So related to why Japanese agriculture can develop this much, I think there are three main keys. First is mechanization or technologies. Since after the war in 1945, Japan tried to develop their technologies, their mechanization. So they support every program for mechanization in every aspect, including agriculture. The second thing is community-based development. So not only farmers, but also citizen, research institute, government working together to develop agriculture sector. For example, in Japan, it is a very common thing if farmers come to the university and they bring some sample or problem for from their field to show it to university or research institute. And then research institute will do research why this kind of problem happen, and how we can solve. And they also invite government to make, to establish a good system or good solution for the problem of the farmers. And the last thing why agriculture is developed into this extent is Japanese people have very good, very hardworking work ethic. As you can see, if you going to city in Japan, even 12 in the night, in midnight, they are still working. The light in the office still on. It indicates that they are still working. And also in agriculture, farmers working very hard to develop their agriculture. However, because of the changing system, the changing situation of this EA family and everything, Japan also have some challenge related to this system. The first thing is declining number of fertility rate. Japan became aging population country. what does is it means agriculture and business successes are also declining. So there is no one to continue the agriculture, to continue the business. And then the other thing is younger generation interest in agriculture is also decreasing. So younger generation have interest working in big city, in company, but they don't have big interest to work in agriculture. So if this trend continues in the future, there will be no one to continue the agriculture and the business. So what Japanese people do, they invite and allow outsider to become farmer or to continue business. What is different between inviting a son to the family is this is entirely new person to become farmers. So in the past, it is very difficult if you want to become farmers or businessmen in the village or in the community, because the community itself protect their environment, their livelihood, so that no one can uh, become farmers. Because if outsider want to enter the community, it will make maybe a new problem. They don't know this characteristic of this person. Maybe in the future they will take much resource from our place. But because of the situation changing, they invite and allow outsider to become farmers. And also they this farmer association support when a new person want to become farmers. They give training, they give many support to them to become farmer, so that the land will be not idle, so they can produce agriculture product. And also, so the next challenge is social norm, value, work ethic, and working skill begin to erode, because, like I said, I explained before, because they don't live in the same place, and then the time that they spend with the elder generation is becoming less. So this transfer, this knowledge and skill transfer is becoming less. And also the next challenge is younger generation are not participating in community activities, because Japan, the key development is the key development is community development. So if younger generation not participate in community activities, it will become a problem in the future.
Mm.
Okay, the last thing that I want to tell you is we already have system, or Indonesia uh, already have system, and we apply system from another country in order to support our agriculture, such as Musrembang, Musdes, and Rembuk Desa. This is community discussion of on development planning. So it is already there, but the thing is we didn't do it properly. uh, it is only like to show that we have this activity, but the realization, the application of this system is not there in Indonesia. And then the other thing is we have this farmer association or group, but unfortunately to say, in Indonesia, this group only get together when government will give support or give subsidies to the farmers. Then they will gather, and then after that they will disband. They will not participate in farmers association. And the other thing is data and information should be gathered properly to support the decision maker to establish better system to develop. This is from my personal experience. When I collect data from one department, for example, agriculture department, fisheries department in Indonesia, the data is not complete. And then uh, very poor data. So it is difficult to see or to imagine the real situation of our country, in especially in agriculture and fisheries. Why this is important? If we can improve our data and information, we can make a proper decision or proper solution to our agriculture or fisheries problem. And then the next thing that we have to do to do the flow to the flow of our Indonesia agriculture sector is try to learn and realize our social system so that proper management can be established according Indonesia's unique characteristic. I didn't say that our social system or our culture or our uh, management is not good, but we need to learn from other countries development key, and then we need to learn our social system, our real condition of agriculture, so that we can manage it, so we can uh, further develop that system based on our unique characteristic. So those things that related to this topic, this ES system, those things are the aspect that can be developed for Indonesian agriculture. Okay, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. I will give back to Senses.
Sorry, Sensei, your speaker still off. Still off, Sensei. Okay.
Thank you. I said thank you very much for Imam. So the reason I asked him to explain about that is I talked about Japanese case, and Imam can compare with Japan and Indonesia. So if so, it's very clear meaning. So my lecture become very clear for you. So from now, I will talk about Japanese case. So from today, please think in comparison with the Indonesian case. So today, I will talk about the community. But before that, do you remember this slide? So I explained about conflict, and I asked you, so what is difference between human conflict and animal conflict? So I forget to answer it, but my answer is like this. Man remembers the conflict, contents of conflict for a long time. Conflict may accumulate and grow. For example, A is still hesitant to talk to B because B's family and A's family have been on bad terms for a long time. So it's usually happen in Japanese society. So our community, small community, try to avoid like this situation. I want to say that thing. Okay, and Imam, as Imam mentioned, the Japanese society is aging, and I will show the population pyramid. It's a Japanese one, and this is a picture from 1945, just after the World War II. So this is male. Male number is very low because of war. Many army died. But after that, recovering, and the shape of pyramid become, invade again. It looks human, not triangle. It become human shape. That means the elder generation increasing, but the younger one and the children reduce. And now our population pyramid is like this shape. And this is a simulation of 2050. So our society almost all is elderly, 50, over 50. And small children is very low. So our society is aging. And I look for the Indonesian data. This is on 1950. And this is now. So big changes. But you have still much younger generation. And this is simulation in 2050. Well, society also aging society. But big, not same like Japan. Okay, so to understand this condition of population, so I will talk about Japanese community. And at first, I will talk about the problem of Japanese rural village. Village means a community or rural area before 1960. This is a beginning of rural sociology. So that time, the problem of the rural community is lack of infrastructure compared to cities. Non-hygienic restroom, bath, or kitchen. And the housewife of farmhouse had no right using money. Only mom has a right to use money. And heavy workload to labor-intensive agriculture. I will talk later. Our problem is like this. So our rural sociology starts from this situation. But after that, Japanese agricultural village changed very much. So we experienced the era of rapid economic growth. This means 1960 to 1975. So we experienced economic growth. And this era, so we feel this kind of problem. So diffusion of chemical fertilizer, agricultural machine and car. So labor saving or agricultural work, it's a effect on this. But after that, the agrichemical effect on our health, and this time, many of insect or animals, small animals in paddy field disappear. It's a very bad influence to the natural environment. And this time, Man went away as a migrant worker to the city. Someone migrant worker, but someone moved. And the farm village become rich because if a migrant worker, they will come back and with money. And if they migrate to the city area, they feel and they feel for them the is important, so they send money to so the farm village also become rich. However, the labor force for agriculture was lost and elderly and women engaged in agriculture from that era. Now also, and this is also severe, lack of women to marry farmers. So now, still now, especially in mountainous area, the single man over 50 years old, there are many. They cannot marry. There are no female in the village. And after 1980s to now, the problem is a community problem. It means a decrease in population, accompanying low birth rate and longevity. The community, so that's caused to the community activities and resource management have become difficult, especially in mountain small-scale community. So now I told the community activity and resource management. So this is a big feature of Japanese community. The Japanese community have a big role to this one, resource management. So today's lecture, I will talk about the resource management in Japanese community. Oh, before that, it's population, total population is Japan is a upper graph, and this is a total population in Japan. It's increasing. You can, but this one is a agricultural area, population in agricultural area. You can see that it very much decreased. And such problems are unsolvable only by the government. Of course, Japanese government try to support the community. They try to set the infrastructure to the remote area, and they give money, put money to agriculture, or they support to buy machine for the farmer. But the population decrease not stopped. So such problems are unsolvable only by the government. So it come to be a thought that the power of a local community is very important. So from this time, the rural sociology also focused by policy. So I want to explain what is a feature of Japanese community. So we call Japanese family ie, and as the same way, we call Japanese community as a mura. Because a community is very easy to understand. So today I will use community, but usually we don't use the word village, because village is an administrative village. We understand that way, but the community is different from the village, government village. So I will use community. Community not changed, but the government village will become bigger than bigger. So I will use community. And this is a typical landscape of community in mountainous area. You can see that this is hamlet and paddy field and mountain. This is a typical feature. This also mountainous community. We live collectively, and in front of community there are paddy, and the background of community there are forest or mountain. But this also same. This also. But sometimes very big area, big flat like Saga is different way, like that. And so as shown you, there are many types of community from the geographical community, but we have a definition, we can say the definition of community. So Mura is a Japanese traditional community. So the Japanese community is a definition is like this. The Mura always kept constant independence while the influenced by government policy. So people have organized the Mura in not the guidance of the government, but those power. So Imam-san used a bottom up and top down. So the community is, of course, maybe Indonesia also, bottom up community. Bottom up is good. So, however, it's sometimes complex because the Mura have a organizing ability. So our government use Mura for unit over unit. Okay, so it is said that the Japanese rural community has a very strong cohesion. Why? So it is it can explain about the agriculture in Japanese. So Japan is a small country with a high population density. Rural land cannot be increased by cultivating new land. So maybe Indonesia, you have many bare land, maybe I think. Jakarta, the density is very high, but another place, you have many land, unused land. But in Japan, no unused land. So every land, maybe almost every land is located to some communities. Our population is very high. And the mountains are steep and the rivers are swift. So we need to keep the water and control flooding. For Japanese village, the keeping water for irrigation or control flood is very important and difficult. And in Japan, the majority is a small scale farmer. Now, from in this decade, some century, we don't have so big the landowner. Almost a majority is a small scale farmers. So the small scale farmer cannot solve this challenge. So we have to cooperate. And another thing also, it needs to be done collectively and collaboratively. For example, pest control. It's of course, we can kill all pests from my paddy, but pests can come from neighbors' paddy too. So it needs collectivity. And the preservation of drinking water sources. So our river is very swift, so we have to make channel to bringing water to kitchen. So water source cleaning or it's very important. And maintenance of irrigation water canal also. And prevention of infectious disease. It means a control of places where dead bodies of humans and animals are buried. So we have to decide that this place, otherwise infectious disease will spread. And order for water use also important. So we cannot avoid water directly to the river. So today I cannot explain, but we still now we have a very severe rule to using water. And for example, we can wash my hand in the channel in front of my house, but we cannot wash my dishes in that canal. There are another place to wash dishes. And because in front of my house channel is used for drinking water too, like that. And equitable distribution of important resources, water, grass, firewood, etc. So today I talk about the example of grass. So from that reason, Mura, Japanese community, is strongly organized. And there is a leader of Mura community and a role in the Mura. And the important thing is that there is a property of the Mura. I told you about Japanese ie has their own property. Like that, Japanese Mura also have their own property, Mura's property. So, for example, that property is many case, property is mountain or forest or coast of the sea or riverside or like that. And sometimes irrigation pond. And any kind of social business can be done by using it, property, community property. So for example, I know that some community, and they have a mountain as a common property. So, and they start to use that mountain as a skiing ground. And they have much snow in the winter. So they start to open the ski garden. So that is a community business, and that community can earn money. And this part, there are rules for using natural resource and land in the Mura area. It's for sustainable resource management. So now I ask you to draw a picture of farming village. So can you draw, if you have pen and paper, please draw a picture of village, your image. If someone asks you, write paint village, agriculture village, what kind of picture you write? Good. And if someone finished to write, please show us.
Okay. Please, student, write a picture about a farming village that you have that are in your mind. Okay. And maybe you can raise your hand after you finish your drawing. Thank you. Thank you, Sensei.
Hey,
Okay.
Oh. Not that. So, not so. Yeah.
はい、なんか、そういうように、違う、ごま、
Someone finished?
Anyone finish? Oh, Zetira, you are finished? Oh, two mountain.
Rough sketch is okay.
Okay.
Not so deep.
Okay, Zetira, you want to explain, Sensei, if the student has finished drawing, they can explain what they imagine about what they are drawing, Sensei, or not?
Yes.
So,
Mm. Okay, very rough sketch is okay. Who is a representative?
okay. Which one? Who wants to explain first? Okay. Which one? So please raise your hand. If you have finished your drawing. Okay, Siti Ramadhani Anderia, please. You can explain what you're imagine about village and farming.
Thank you for this opportunity. So I have some experience. Go to my village, 1 hour from my house in Palembang City, which is I draw like this.
Okay.
I can because I using my background. Maybe I already put it first.
Okay, maybe yeah, okay.
Okay.
Maybe you off your okay.
Okay, this is the street. Some people, villager, like live in beside the street. So maybe the street in the middle, and this is the house. And in behind their house, there is some land for their agriculture, such as this is I wrote this corn farmer and rice seed. And beside their house, they like a farmer some chicken and duck, and their farmer beside their land. So this is the river. So this is a source for their water. Maybe just I maybe this is for my presentation of
Okay.
my
Yes, thank you very much.
picture.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice
Thank you.
presentation, Siti Ramadini. Jadi it's a complete farming, I think, Sensei. Not only paddies, but also livestock, and also there are also rivers. So it means there are fish in the river also, yeah. Okay. What about others?
One more student.
One more. Okay, one more students. Okay, which one? Who wants to explain, maybe to present her picture? Which one? Okay. Anggia, you want to explain your picture, have you? Or Hosi, maybe? Hosi want to present?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So
Okay.
I also have experience when I study in Yogyakarta. I went to a village in Klaten, West Java. So in that village,
Yeah, turn on first your background.
okay.
Okay.
This the street, and this is the land of rice paddy, and then this the house of society, and there is a river from research to irrigation, and then there is a forest. There is also forest in that village. So the society in that village have first as a farmer, as a paddy farmers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Hosi.
thank you very much.
Nice presentation also. Okay.
Okay,
Sensei.
so I back to lecture. So this is a Japanese student wrote this. I asked to Japanese student, the undergraduate student, to write Japanese mura, image of Japanese mura. So they write this way. How do you think? Different from yours. So I feel very interesting. And now two students show me the picture, and both of them write the road and the house and paddy. But there are someone explained the forest, but the Japanese student, all of Japanese students write the forest as a background, mountain in background. And they explain this is a river. All students explain river, not road. So paddy and hamlet and mountain, this three part is a very important, they feel, important component of Japanese mura. So this kind of survey is very interesting because between the country, the image of farm community is different. So Japanese students like this way. And this is a Sri Lankan one, not a student, but many Sri Lankan use this picture to explain their structure of village. And this also same, but they write paddy, hamlet, and a big pond, irrigation pond, and forest. And this also same. So they have, it can say that they can 4 big components of mura. And Japanese case, we have 3 components, but they have 4 components. And maybe Indonesian student, well, Indonesia is very variability. They have many variety of agriculture. So every island is different shape. So it's not unique one. But Japan or Sri Lanka, this area, they have a common image and common component image of agriculture. So I will use this picture. She draw very detail from detail. So this is a I will explain 3 components of Mura. First, and here agricultural field, paddy field, and this one, a forest or mountain. So we have 3 components, but it's interestingly that it's a so from the viewpoint of possession, this 3 is also different. For example, the hamlet, we have our own land, our own garden, our own house land, and agricultural paddy field also, we have private land. But in the mountain, the many cases and past time, we use common land, use as a common land, not to divide it into the individual area. So we use as a common land. So we have that tradition, but after that, the some part of mountain near the hamlet, we divide into each household. But the big portion of mountain, still now, we have Japanese community has this as a common property. So that is a community owned property. So this also, we can divide 3. And for this community, this is their own property. And this is a Aso area. Last week I told about the Aso. And this is grassland. And this hamlet, this party belongs to this hamlet. And this mountain belongs to this village. And in the mountain, there are 2 types. You can see deep green near the hamlet, and the light green, the far forest. So near the community, this part of the land, we call it a Satoyama. Maybe Satoyama is now very general word, becoming general word. But we use Satoyama as a community land before, but now divided into individual household. But still now we are using this as a community property. Okay. And you know the word commons. Common theory is a very famous theory, but we call it the common property of Mura called commons. The common property of Mura is one kind of commons, and we call it Iriai, but the system of this common property is realized in above mentioned feeling. Above means common land, and it's like original property and duality of land ownership. It's called like this. And still now, it's accepted as a custom also in legal. So now our possession law we have to register the owner, the name of owner, but our custom is recognize this mountain is a community property. So we have that feeling, but our law required us to register someone's name. So the law legal registered name and the reality is a bit different. But we use this as a community property. And sometimes our law also like put the EDI. So EDI means a community property. So anyway, at the present, the right of commons EDI also serves as a basis of the resistance to development by the government. So government want to manage by themselves, but community said this is our own land from the past time. So government cannot use this. So community has power to the government. And the government, now government is recognized that place as a community land. And I will talk one example. This is Lake Biwa, biggest lake in Japan. And this is village. There we can see the 3 hamlet, 1, 2, 3. This is a field of my master thesis. And I went to this hamlet. And this in this hamlet, they have this. So I have to say the Japanese community has their own land border. Do you have a border of community? Very clear border of community. So in Japanese community, they have a very clear border of community. So I asked these people, where is border of your community? So they can write on the map from this, like this, and this. And I asked some old woman, did you, are you going to some other hamlet? She answered, no. I asked why. She answered, because it's very far, but it's not so far. It's from here to here, 15 minutes by walk, but they feel this is very far. That means the border of community is very big for them, especially elder one. So we feel that our community area is here, and inner community, staying in the community, we feel very safe. So that kind of feeling that we had before. So I wrote a map of that community, and this is border of community. That this border, interestingly, this border decided into Edo era, the samurai time, more than 200 years before. That time we also have this border with their own territory of the Mura. And in decided territory, this Mura managed the life and agriculture of Mura community. So you can use it to image that this forest also limited and paddy land also limited. So they cannot increase their EA. So that's why the member of EA, some member of EA have to go to outside from the Mura. And I will explain how to use this part. So they are living this hamlet, and they grow this paddy field, and they use this forest for the cutting for wood from here, and bringing grass to other fertilizers to here. The grass is very important fertilizer for paddy field in Japan. So this forest very important as a grassland and forest, both. And we use this forest as a common land. This also, before this also the forest, but they divided into each household for forestry. But this part, still now, they registered this part as a shrine's property. And they using as a common land. And now they are doing forestry in this area. And after cutting wood, the profit will come to this community, not for individual. So they use that money for community common things. For example, festival or repairing their hall or something like that. I skip. And last time I explained about the Aso. Aso is a very big grassland. So, and now I said the grass is very important for agriculture. So before our agriculture is like that, and every day people go to mountain and bring grass to put for the cows feeding for cow, and put the paddy field as a fertilizer. Like that, they are collecting grass and bring grass to the paddy. Like that. And it continues still now. And grass was very important for feed of cow or house. The dropping of the cow become manure, but the grass also very important. And therefore, that they need to the large area of grassland. So they need a mountain as a grassland. And this is a photo of the firing. Once a year, they put fire on the forest, not a grassland in Aso. But before this kind of firing, we can see anywhere. But now, recently, we can see only limited area. But in March, winter, beginning of spring, we can see this landscape. So they are they are firing because for keeping grassland. And they also cutting grass and collect. But they cannot cut all the grass, so they put fire to maintain the grassland. But recently, we can buy fertilizer, so the no farmer use grass for other fertilizer. So now only small number of farmers keeps many cows to sell in the grassland. Like this. But in this situation, under this situation, so include these cow farmers, all villagers come to put fire for keeping grassland. And now in this area, Aso area is registered as a World Agricultural Heritage Site. So they start to community business in this grassland. I will show the photo. In Mountain Aso, there are some parking area and some restaurant here. And when we use this parking land, we have to pay. So that income go to the community. This grass belongs to some community. Each grass belongs to some community. So the income also belongs to that community. So the community start to earn some tourism. And this also ecotourism, green tourism. So this is one example of community business. I will skip. And today, so I want to explain one example of community business. So we know that many persons focus on community business, and our government also encouraging the community business. Why? The reason is like that. The community business is conducted in accordance with community traditions, which leads to the welfare of the residents of the village community. And there is a mechanism to distribute profits equally without abandoning anyone. And the community has a tradition of protecting the natural environment around them. So the not big enterprise, a community, if community start a business, it's a environmentally friendly business. So everyone is focused on this kind of activity. Okay, and then I will explain, introduce about the mountainous community business in mountain community. So in Japan, Japanese government try to start a wood biomass project in mountainous area. Because mountainous area is now aging society, and forestry is not going well. So the woody biomass power generation can use this kind of wood. This kind of means unused wood. So this is forest and this forest is growing for sale, but in this process, the small trees, they have to cut small trees, and generally this trees abundant in forest. But this project can make it into the chip and generate electricity. So the mountainous village can sell this to the company. So it's very good for them. But what Japanese government did is they introduced big company along with the sea area. This is Kyushu Island, and this is sea. And you can see the very big company, all big company is sea area, but forest is inside. So there are distance from here to here. So this big company try to cut forest at the same time. So because they have to go again and again, so it's costly. So they want to make big road and cut all the tree at the same time. But if do so, the environment, very bad effect on environment. So the many of communities start to try to make the small scale plant of a biomass plant inside the mountain, and they generate electricity by themselves and sell to the company. So that is very good idea for them. So they can control the cutting number and control the way. So that case is one merit and kind of merit, one of merit of the community business. So I want to say community business can maintain the environment, protect the environment, forest, and protect their pace of dwellers. So it's good for community. If this way, the profits only go to the big company, not for the mountain side. So that kind of community business case. But this kind of things can possible because of Japanese community has a big tie, and they feel their forest is a very common property. So they try to do business using it. So that is a Japanese community business model. So the time is coming. So I will close today's lecture now. Thank you.
Hi, Mata.
I will invite your questions.
Yes, Sensei. Yeah. Okay. Please for the student, if you have some question to Sensei about the material that Sensei have been said to us today. Okay, Agus, you, oh, no. I think Agus raised hand. Okay, Agus, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. As we can see, Bang Ima mentioned on the screen about challenge for Japan related to the topic, such as younger generation interest in agriculture is decreased. My question is, what has Japan done to make younger generation to be interested in agriculture? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So you want to know how Japan manages the younger people want to going to agriculture again, yeah? Okay, and maybe the second one, Zetira, you want to ask a question also? You raise your hand, okay, please, Zetira.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I want to ask Mr. Imam explain about Japanese agriculture reform case, and one of them, technology is the important about with that. So I want to know not every people can accept or take it, all the technology. So I want to ask my question is have something issue or something a problem in Japan about the technology or not, or every people can can use and can take all the technology.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zetira. Maybe you want to ask about any problem in applying technology in Japan. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe anyone want to ask to Sensei also? Okay. There is no Teresa, you want? Okay, the last question from you. Okay, Teresa, please.
Okay, Ms. Desi, thank you for this great opportunity. I want to ask that, as Mr. Imam said, that Japan become an aging population country, that it causes agriculture and business successors are also declining. My question is, does Japan's government implement a policy to increase the fertility rate? And what is the example of that policy? Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you. So you want to know how Japan increasing their fertility rate, yeah? Okay, Sensei and Imam-san, there are 3 questions from our students. So please, if you don't mind, Sensei and Imam-san.
Okay, so
there are 3 questions. So first, Sensei will answer all the questions, and in additional, I will also give some comment and my experience doing living in Japan. So.
Okay.
I will explain about why Japanese government introduced use to the agricultural community. So today I have no time to tell about that, but recently, so before Japanese government tried to introduce use to the agriculture. So Japanese government, for example, Japanese government support to the youth one, so maybe under 35 or something, to if they newly start to agriculture, not success from their father, the government support 5 years, the monthly money. It's a different from the place, but government support money to the youth, the newly start from the agriculture, and some local government also have policy, and some local government give freely the accommodation for the newcomers and the young family with 2 children, small children. They want population, so they invite like that way. But recently, especially after earthquake in Tohoku or after COVID-19, our value system will change. Many young men interested in the local lifestyle. Many young men come to their own will, come to rural area and start to forestry or agriculture. But their style is different from the past time. So they combine their own career. For example, one young female engaged in the instructor of a canoe. Canoe is a boating, canoe instructor, but off season, she is engaging in the forestry. So she has two income sources, the canoe instructor and forestry. So and some young man is a painter or someone is a computer something, and they have two or three occupations at the same time and migrate to the local village and engage in forestry or agriculture. So that is a new trend in Japan. That case very much increasing recently. And second question, technology, the problem of technology, right? So now Japanese agriculture or everything, fisheries also, and forestry also, the Japanese government try to introduce mechanization, and they invite big machine, and they support by that machine. But the problem is money, because that machine is very expensive. And I cannot count, but government support some percent. Sometimes the government supports 70%, and sometimes government support 50%. But less money, the farmer themselves have to pay. But it's very, very expensive, more than house, car, 10 times of car. So one agricultural machine costed 10 times of car. So the government have to borrow money from bank and continue to back for many years. So that is a big, very, very big problem. And wait a minute.
政府がどのような政府が物を植えるようが畑をどんなサポートを
Just third question, birth rate, about birth rate. So now researchers start to study about the difference between different birth rate between area. So for example, we have southern island area, Okinawa, called Okinawa. That place, the birth rate is very high, but Tokyo, Osaka is very low. So why Okinawa is so high, and why Tokyo, we can understand why Tokyo is low, but why another is low and why Okinawa is high. But now, still we don't have the clear answer, but we expected that in Okinawa, so they can, how to say, community tie is very strong, but mothers and parents' generation and sons' generation can live at the same house area, but not same building. For example, in the same land area, they have two buildings, two houses separately, but very closely living. So it's stressless, no stress for each. and so younger generation easy to come back, and what they, if they need, they can ask the care of children for their parents. So that is one of the reason. But now, still now, we don't have a clear answer. Okay, so I'll change to Imam.
So I will just add some points. I will just add some points from Sensei answer. So for question number 1, how Japanese government invite younger generation. So like Sensei said, during 5 years when they start their farming activity, they get salary. That is one point. And the second thing is they also get training from the other farmers and also the Japanese Agriculture Association, like I said before. Even government also give free house. So because of the aging population, there is so many free house. There is no one in that house. So they give it to person who want to start agriculture or farming. And also they try to increase local infrastructure, because why people don't want to live in the rural area in the first place, because local infrastructure is not there, it's not enough. So they want to live in the city where the supermarket and everything is available. So one thing is government try to increase the local infrastructure and also easy access to the village, so that younger generation will stay in the rural area and start doing farming. And for the second question, can all people using technology in Japan, and what kind of problem, like Sensei said, the farming farming machine is very expensive. That's why by Japanese this Japan Agriculture Cooperative or GA, they buy, for example, they buy a very expensive machine for common use. They use it for every farmers in that area. So every farmers in that area can use the machine freely. And also, beside of that, they establish this money loan system for farmers who want to buy agriculture machine. Okay, for the last one, since Japan is aging population, what did Japanese government do to support fertility rate? So this is based on my personal experience. There are so many support given by government to increase the willingness of parents to have a child. As you know, in Japan, they, even though they are married, sometimes they don't want to have children. And in that case, in order to increase, Japan government give many support. For example, the first one, if you delivery or melahirkan baby in the hospital, government will give some amount of money so that it will cover the hospital fee. So in my case, that money is more than the hospital fee, so the rest of the money given to me. So in that case, you can say that delivery or melahirkan, biaya melahirkan is free, totally free. And then the second thing is they give money, some amount of money for parents who don't have sufficient income during the delivery process, during the pregnancy. So, for example, the mother cannot do a job or cannot work during the pregnancy, during the persalinan, during the delivery. They will give some amount of money so that for 2 months or 3 months after giving birth, they still can buy food and everything. And the third thing is there is a child subsidy for children, for baby under 3 years old. They will give around 15,000. It means around 2 million rupiah maybe every month. And then the next thing is they give holiday for parents from work, not only mother but also father. If I'm not mistaken, it is during 3 months. They will give holiday for parents, so that because the why people don't want to have child, because it's very difficult. In the past, they like need to work, and then they have to take care of the baby and the mother. And now Japan government try to give many holidays for the parents, for both father and mother. And then the last thing that I can say is for baby, if you go to the clinic or hospital, for the consultation fee for the doctor only cost around 500 yen. It is maybe 75,000 rupiah, and the medicine is free for the baby. So those are some support that given by government, at least to increase the willingness of parents to have a baby. Okay, that is the answer from me. Thank you. Bu, mic-nya mati.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sensei, and also Imam San, for the very clear explanation. I think, yeah, so there are so many differences between our beloved country, Indonesia, and also Japan. So what we can learn from our lecture today and 1 week ago, that we can move our agriculture sector by learning from Japan, I think. Sensei, before we close our course, I want to ask, if you don't mind, I want to ask about the assignment lecture from our student. Maybe you can give them some, maybe some examination, or maybe assignment, or maybe write a paper that discuss one topic or other, Sensei.
I don't know. Okay, so I will send an email to you. So I asked them to write something.
Okay, Sensei. Okay, Sensei, it's okay. Okay, I will wait for the email, and I will send to my student after I receive the email from you about the assignment of your lecture, Sensei. Okay, is there any question again, students? Because we already have two times to meet with Sensei. It's a very, very, very interesting, very wonderful session, I think. So we get much, many information from Sensei. Is there? Are there any question again? Okay, if there is no other question, so Sensei, on behalf of our entire team of Agriculture Faculty, Sriwijaya University, I would like to express our gratitude to you for the visiting lecture. And also, I sincerely appreciate you for taking out time for your busy schedule to provide us with such a valuable lecture. And I hope all thanks, and we send all thanks to your support, Sensei, and we wish you great health and success with all your future. And also say big thanks to Imam San that accompany us for these 2 weeks also. And thank you also for all the students. Hope you can getting much from these 2 weeks, yeah, from our lecture. Thank you very much, Sensei. Maybe you want to say something before we close our lecture, Sensei. Please welcome.
Thank you very much. I had a very exciting time with you. So I hope I will go to Palembang again for that time. so please, we can spend time together. I hope.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sensei. We also wait for your coming here, and also if we have a time, we want to visit Saga University also, if the pandemic is overcome. Okay. Thank you very much. Maybe we close our lecture for today. Thank you very much for Sensei, Imam San, and also all the students. Hope you all in a safe and healthy condition always. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Sensei. Thank you very much, Sensei. Arigatou gozaimashita. Sensei.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita. Oke. Oke. Makasih ya. Nanti ada tugas dari Sensei, nanti saya email apa. Kemudian untuk bahan kuliah saya yang untuk kelima itu sebetulnya sudah saya submit ke e-learning. Nanti bentuknya kuliahnya asinkron aja. Nanti saya akan rekam. Nanti videonya saya share ke e-learning. Silahkan nanti ditonton videonya. Jadi untuk kuliah kelima sifatnya asinkron ya. Kemudian untuk ujian, sebetulnya materi ujiannya sudah saya masukkan ke e-learning. Nanti kapan mau dikumpulkan saya sampaikan kembali. Untuk yang dari saya ya. Baik, terima kasih. Saya tutup kuliahnya. Salam sehat selalu. Terima kasih ya perhatiannya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ibu langsung ending ya.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Iya.